Aquaba. Welcome, y'all, to You Ain't Imagining This, the show that brings you immersive Black empowerment stories rooted in truth, history, and everyday life. I'm Alma Robin, your host and storyteller here. Today's episode, well, it's not a Believe Black People episode. That is coming soon, and I'm going to keep you posted. This one is a You Ain't Imagining This story. And this is a story about memory, connection, and that thing we hold on to even when the world tries to pull it apart. Family. And today, you are invited to a family reunion, my family reunion. You're gonna hear metal chairs dragged into a circle, making room for one more. You're gonna hear a voice that you haven't heard in years calling your name, and you will smell the aroma of sweet potato pie shared under a setting sun. After the story, stick around. We'll go beyond the story, where I'll share some personal reflections, a bit of history, and why these gatherings mean so much to us as a people. If this feels like something you need, please subscribe and share it with someone who understands. This sanctuary space is here for you, so come as you are and take what you need. Now, let's go find my people. The family reunion. I pull into the parking lot and the sun is already high. It's catching on the family reunion shirts scattered like wildflowers across the grass. I see them, my people, and I smell the barbecue smoke as it floats above the laughter. Kids dart between tables. Aunties set down foil-wrapped dishes like sacred offerings. And Big Mama, her chair sits front and center, shaded and surrounded like a throne. I pop the trunk and start unloading. Potato salad, lemon bars, my famous sweet tea. I barely take 3 steps before I hear it. There she go. It's my cousin Simone, arms wide, coming in hot. Still writing them essays that make people mad on the internet? She asks me. Still trying to cheat at BidWiz? And we laugh. That easy, no matter how long it's been kind of laugh. I forgot how much I missed this. Near the picnic tables, Uncle Bubba's at the grill. Apron reading Pitmaster General. Y'all better eat now before the DJ gets too deep into Frankie Beverly, that set, and forgets the ribs. Second place in Houston last year, my foot, Aunt Loretta calls. You use way too much brown sugar. Their bickering is a familiar spice. The folding tables have been set up before noon. First under the trees, then spilling onto the lawn. A red tablecloth flapped in the breeze, anchored by sweet tea jugs and an oversized tub of ice. Nearby, cousins dragged chairs across the dirt, calling out names and handing out hugs. This was my family reunion. It had been 5 years in the making. The shirts were purple this time, with white letters that read, Family Reunion, Sacramento, California, 2025. The year mattered, and they all knew it. In a country unraveling, in a time when togetherness was becoming its own kind of resistance, this gathering wasn't just about barbecue and card games. It was about memory and presence, and the refusal to forget who you came from. Pawpaw and Big Mama had made it. In their mid-90s and sharp as ever, they were the king and queen of the reunion. Pawpaw wearing his military hat and a knowing grin. Big Mama wearing her West African kaftan in bright red and gold. They sat under the biggest tree, flanked by grandkids and great-grands, reading to the kids and waiting for a challenge at dominoes. Y'all know better than to bring store-bought cornbread, someone teased, nudging a full covered dish towards the shade. Babies were passed from lap to lap. Aunties told old stories and added new ones in the same breath. Uncles huddled around the grill, arguing about seasoning and smoke time. The air was thick with laughter, with charcoal, and with the smell of baked mac and cheese that had traveled across state lines. The spread is everything. Barbecue ribs, mac and cheese, collard greens, vegan and smoked turkey, jerk tofu, jackfruit, sliders, lemon cake, sweet potato pies lined up like queens. Aunt Mabel's potato salad, of course, no raisins. Cornbread cut into perfect squares, jambalaya, pound cake, and peach cobbler. And Big Mama? Well, she brought 4 sweet potato pies this year. She's holding court by the dessert table, grinning like she knows she still reigns supreme. Because she does. You entering this contest this year or just intimidating the competition? I tease. Hush, she said, cutting me a slice. Just taste it. We always set up the family tree table by the big oak tree. This year, it's got new photos, sticky notes with baby names, and even a QR code to a digital archive. Jamari made the board? My cousin Dee asked, bouncing her baby boy on her hip. Of course, I say, right here under y'all. You and Carla got a whole new branch. Carla, her wife, grins. We made history and a baby. That's how you do it, someone says from behind, and we all nod and smile. Over in the shade, the young folks are huddled together, deep in it. A group of young cousins discuss reparations, politics, black land ownership. One cousin is wearing a Free Palestine shirt. Another is wearing and distributing Remember Congo buttons. My nephew is fresh off a grad program in African American Studies. And one cousin wears a crop top that says free-ish since 1865. I just love these young people. And the debate gets louder, half laughing, half serious, about the politics of hair, of voting rights, and why Octavia Butler was the greatest of all time. They agree that George Orwell and Hannah Arendt are overrated. It's all about W.B. Du Bois, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Angela Davis, and Audre Lorde. They're the intellectuals for black folk. Another had a stack of books on her lap, passing them around like treasure. One girl pulls out a worn copy of Parable of the Sower and says, Octavia Butler already gave us the blueprint for what to expect in the future and how to navigate what's coming. But we're still educated and educating and begging from politicians who don't even read, much less read her, someone replies, and they all nod. We need to start a political party that focuses on protecting black issues. We can't keep begging for a seat at the table. Brother Malcolm, or El Haj Malik El Shabazz, said that more than 40 years ago. Well, they owe us reparations. Other groups, even those terrible enslavers, got reparations. They got to compensate us for enslavement, for segregation, and for the continuing racism that denied us our economic and civil rights for more than a century. That's right. Reparations can't be just cash apps. We need infrastructure, but we gotta reclaim more than our time, one of them says. We need to reclaim our land. Now, my nephew, Elijah, is rocking a Reclaim the Block t-shirt and breaking down land ownership with his friends. We need a national Black land bank, not just protests, not just policies. They all nod, but I know the discussion isn't over. But we gotta protest police violence and the prison industrial complex and the bail system that keeps so many mothers and fathers in jail and that separates so many families. There should be a special kind of prison hell for those killer cops and their accomplices. People are finally screaming about family separations. Well, they've been separating our families since we were kidnapped, trafficked, and enslaved here. No one was shouting or screaming to keep Black families together. Our families have always been suffering and separated and attacked. Who's crying out for us but us? The passion is electric. Their debate's louder than a playlist running. Meanwhile, someone's auntie interrupts. Speaking of reclaim, is someone going to reclaim this plate? I fixed you a to-go already. And we all laugh, because it's always love and always layered. And we sigh, feeling grateful that our family can still gather, but feeling sorrow for those families that cannot. By the card tables, I can see that it is already intense. You reneging again, Tasha? Even if I did, it's still better than your boxed cornbread. And we all howl at laughter with that. Beer bottles clink. Someone pulls out a deck with Harriet Tubman on the back. That's a freedom deck, Uncle Kenneth says. Play with honor. As the sun starts to slide, someone calls for prayer. No mic, no fuss, just quieting. Auntie Val clears her throat. God of our mothers, our fathers, our freedom fighters, and storytellers, thank you for bringing us together one more time. We remember those who aren't with us today. We hold space for the tired, the grieving, and the ones still finding their way. And we give thanks for this circle, this family. Amen. A few amens echo, and a couple people whisper, Ashe, Ashe. And like we've done for years now, one of the elders raises their hand and says, we're going to do this like we mean it, like we believe it. And Big Mama says, y'all ready? We circle up. Toddlers are lifted. Aunties hush the gossip. Pawpaw leans on his cane but stands tall. And we begin. Harambe. 7 times, each louder and stronger. Harambe. 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 By the 5th time, you can feel it in your bones. The rhythm of legacy, the pulse of we in this together. Harambe, Harambe. The young children don't know what it means yet, but they feel it. The energy, the pull, the togetherness. Because Harambe means let's pull together in Kiswahili. And that's exactly what we're doing. Even when we're tired, even when the world is heavy, we pull together. Always. I make my way over to the folding chairs under the biggest oak, where the elders have returned to sit and sip sweet tea and, of course, judge everyone's outfit, hair, mate, and general life choices. Big Mama pats a seat next to hers. "Still writing them think pieces, baby?" she asked, grinning. "I'm trying," I said, handing her a plate of peach cobbler. "Do you remember when they said we didn't have family values?" she said almost to herself. "That we were broken." She sighs heavily. "Just look around." And I do. Kids running, elders watching, teens taking selfies, laughter spilling everywhere, the smell of barbecue hanging sweet and smoky in the air. "We kept showing up," she said. "They couldn't stop that." And then came the music. And yes, the dancing too. The playlist had moved from Frankie Beverly to Doechii to Kendrick Lamar without missing a beat. There was even a bit of Wynton Marsalis and Shabuzi thrown in. Somebody's uncle hit a two-step with his cane. Somebody's niece performed a poem about rage and joy. And the little ones, they danced like they had no weight on their shoulders at all. But now, the DJ was ready to fully take over. Y'all ready for this new one? It's a 2025 Black TikTok slide. Half of us laugh, the other half groan. And then they get out there, already in mid-step. Left, right, spin, drop, praise break, pose. Even some of the elders join in and stomp on beat. Later, we gather for the photo. Always that same scramble. Someone starts calling out names for the family photo. Folks groan, but they stop dancing, or they put down their pound cake, or they leave the bid whiz table, and they all come over. Okay, little kids up front, aunties to the left, tall folks in the back. Rows of chairs were pulled into place. The front row seat first, the elders, the ones whose stories were etched into their faces. Behind them, arms slung over their shoulders, toddlers bouncing on knees, everyone squinting in the sun. "Say family," the photographer calls out, and we all say it out loud. "Family!" Click. Because we know this isn't just a photo. It is a record. It's a memory. It's proof that we showed up for each other. That despite time and distance and the weight of this world, we make our way back to family. And as the sun starts to set, someone started a song, not a DJ track, but an old spiritual. It began as a hum, then a line, then a harmony, and slowly the whole reunion joined in. Not rehearsed, not planned, just known. Because that's what Black family reunions are. A gathering, a remembering, a resistance, a celebration. And every plate, every photo, every story passed down, it all says the same thing. We are still here. And you ain't imagining this. As this reunion story winds down, maybe it'll encourage you to take a few steps. Maybe you'll finally send that family group text. Maybe you'll ask who's in charge of t-shirts this year before it turns into the inevitable last-minute scramble. Maybe you'll dust off the family photo album or FaceTime Big Mama just to hear her laugh. Maybe you'll volunteer to update the playlist, to taste test the potato salad. And maybe someone will volunteer to bring the dominoes. But if there's a sweet potato pie contest next year, you know I'm already entering. But do not ask for the recipe. That is family business. Alrighty, y'all. Now the story's settled in. Let's talk. I feel like I want to share why this one matters so much to me. And I have a feeling it matters a lot to you too. Thanks for listening to the family reunion story. And now, this is the time when we go beyond the story. People ask me why I decided to write about the family reunion this year. I really had to think about it. And I wrote about it because this year I won't be at mine. I won't go to the family reunion. No barbecue smoke in the air, no sweet potato pie contest, no babies pass from lap to lap while elders tell stories and play games that get loud in the corner. You see, I live in Europe. That's not the problem. I usually make a trip back to the United States every year, sometimes twice a year. But 2025 has been a different year. Something about what's happening back in my country doesn't feel like home to me anymore. And as much as I want to be there in Sacramento with my people this summer, I had to say no. And that no has been sitting heavy in my chest, in my heart. It's that feeling of separation. It got me thinking about all the Black families who've had to fight, really, just to stay connected. After emancipation, our people searched for each other like it was life or death, because sometimes it was. Names have been changed, babies taken, mothers sold away, fathers disappeared. And still, folks wrote letters, took out newspaper ads, traveled from town to town, chasing whispers and memories. Imagine that, trying to find your child after 20 years apart, with nothing but a name and your faith. That's why Black family reunions are so much more than just summer gatherings. They're acts of remembrance and resistance and togetherness. And yes, they are also joy, real joy. The kind of joy that shows up on a t-shirt with all of our last names printed on it in bold block letters. That kind that smells like barbecue and tastes like Auntie Bev's potato salad. Again, no raisins. The kind that passes down a family Bible with handwritten notes in the margins. The kind of joy that gathers everyone around the family tree, taped to the wall with sticky notes and corrections, because the tree is still growing, alive and growing. The kind of joy that laughs loud and loves deep and still makes room for quiet conversations under shade trees. That's why Black family reunions matter so much. They're not just cookouts, although the food is good. They are sacred returns. They're a refusal to forget and a refusal to be controlled and separated. Even now in 2025, when my body is far from my family, I can close my eyes and remember the t-shirts with our last names and the playlist that always includes Family Reunion by the OJs and We Are Family by Sister Sledge. The elders who remember every generation and kids being introduced like royalty. The grill smoke curling into the sky like an offering. You know what else changed the way we think about our family history? This is controversial, but I believe it's true. Roots. The book Roots, the saga of an American family. When Alex Haley published Roots in 1976, it sparked something powerful. Suddenly, Black folks all over the country started asking more questions, tracing lineages, started organizing reunions. Roots just didn't tell one family story. It opened the door for millions of us to tell ours. The TV series that followed, the cultural earthquake, it brought slavery, survival, and Black love into American living rooms, and it lit a fire under our desire to know where we came from. And that fire is still burning. That fire has always been there, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And even, when our roots don't go all the way back, when the archive is missing or the story gets cloudy, we keep documenting what we do know. We take group pictures, we collect recipes, we print programs, we share the stories one more time so the youngest can remember them too. The reunion isn't only nostalgia, it is future building. So, if, like me, you're feeling far from your family right now, geographically or emotionally or spiritually, you're not alone. I'm with you in that. But maybe it's time to pick up the phone, to start a group chat, to plan a gathering big or small, even if it's just a cookout at the park or a potluck in your backyard. Just do it. Or maybe write down just one story and ask an elder one question. These moments do matter because the Black family has always mattered, even when the world tried to deny it. So let me ask you, do you have a family reunion memory that still lives in your heart? Are you planning one this year? Or you have old photos, favorite recipes, reunion t-shirts from back in the day? Well, drop them in the comments. Share them with me on Instagram or Substack at Amma Robin Tells. Because even if we can't all be there in spirit this year, we can gather right here in community. This reunion is more than an event. It's proof that we've found each other again, that we keep finding each other, and we ain't imagining this. Ashe, community.